Hello, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to graph in standard form and how to graph an absolute value equation by the method of translation. Okay, so I am going to show you how to do very quickly converting standard form into slope-intercept form, but it's a lot more complicated. Later, very detailed, I'm going to show you how to actually make standard form into a graph.
So we start off with this equation that I made. 3x plus 4y equals 36. You subtract 3x to isolate 4y. Then you divide 4 on both sides. And we managed to get y equals negative 3/4 x plus 9, which is the answer.
This answer would make you put 9 on the y-axis and then use the slope, and this process is obviously a lot longer. What standard form does is allows us to get the x-intercept point and the y-intercept point and just plot those two together to make that line. So plotting a line in standard form is a lot more easy. The one where you have to convert it into slope-intercept form is a lot more complicated. This one just gets the 2 points, the x and y axis, which is a lot easier. I'm going to show you how to do it right now.
We use the same standard form equation again. 3x plus 4y equals 36, but now we, in order to get the y-intercept, eliminate the x by making it 0. This isolates the 4y. We divide 4 on both sides to get y as the intercept 9. We do the same again and isolate the x-axis. You see, now we put the 0 in the y-axis, and we have 3x equals 36. We divide 3 on both sides to get the intercept of 12. So, with everything done and your plots of 0, 9 and 12, 0, you should, in theory, have the line
Before
here.
I get started on telling you guys how to graph absolute value equation by the method of translation, first we'll take a look at this equation, which is y equals a to the absolute value x minus h absolute value bar plus k. Okay, this a represents if it's going to either the a before the absolute value bars either represents if it's going to get narrower or if it's going to get wider. Okay, the h represents a horizontal change, while the k represents a change that is vertical. Then we're going to be using an equation that we know as y equals 1/2 absolute value bar x minus 1 plus 2. And this is what we're going to graph, and I'm just going to show you a quick thing, but we're going to go on to the other graph, and that's where I'm going to explain it a bit better.
So let's start off by putting in the basic form of translation, which is y equals absolute value, x absolute value bars. Basically what this is just y, the y-intercept, and then it's just from the origin to the slope of 1. After this, we have to take a look at the equation, which is pretty much y equals 1/2 absolute value, x minus 1 plus 2. Now, what this means is that we're going to have to move it 1 to the right because it's negative 1, and that means it's going to be positive. So we have to move it 1 to the right. Then we're going to have to move it 2 up. And then finally, we're going to take what we see as one space and shrink it down. What this means is, as in where we have the blue point, and we're going to have to shrink it down by 1/2. And since it's 1 point, then it's going to be 2.5 instead of what it's currently at. And we should end up with what is the pink.
Okay, so what basically happened here with the whole graphing thing is that because 1/2 is less than what is required, then it is now going to turn wider because it is 1/2. The negative 1, because it is an absolute value, instead of labeling it at negative 1, is going to be at 1. So then you move horizontally 1, okay? And then with the 2, you move 2 spaces up, After that, you already know that y equals the absolute value of x is just plotting it from the origin, which is 0, and then going up by the slope of 1, basically. And you derive yourself from this, basically, and just graph that.